Hello, welcome to episode 207 of the CraftHouseMagic podcast. My name is Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and today is the 28th of April. So welcome everybody. I hope you've all had a lovely crafty week since the last time I've spoken to you, and I am here to share all the things that I've been making in the last 7 days. So today we have some knitting, and I've got 3 finished objects to show you. I'm excited to share those, but none of them have been blocked yet, so bear with. I have some sewing to show you, a gadget which I am very excited about. It's organisational, so always even better when it's gadget and organisational as well. I have a blast from the past. I have an Ask Me Anything question. I've got my shop update, and I have a lot of yarns that I've got to show you that are going in the shop this Friday, and I have had garment knitting in mind with these, so they are tonals ideal for knitting garments with. And then of course Jensen will have his spot at the end of the podcast. So we have a couple of Makalongs going on the Ravelry group and on Instagram, and I'll leave information in the description bar down below, as well as the hashtags to use on Instagram and links to the Ravelry group. So let's get on with the knitting, shall we? I have finished the hat that I started last week, and it isn't blocked yet, so you can't see the full sort of effect of that star shape, but I just love this. It does look a little bit funny before it's been blocked, but I think once that's been blocked out, it'll be really nice. It's supposed to be a beret style hat, so obviously when it's blocked it'll look a little bit better, but you get the idea that it'll be something like that. And this is the Sterenn beret by Avec Anna, and I'll leave a link to the pattern and the yarn in the description bar down below. So I used 2 yarns held double for this, and that's how it looks. So the yarns themselves separately look like this. This one here is a Hedgerow yarns, and this is in the Mystic Rainbow colourway, and I used 60 grams for this out of the 4-ply yarn, and then I held it double with a grey lace alpaca, which is It's Raining Men in my lace alpaca base in my shop, and it came out like this. And I think that the grey toned the rainbow down a little bit, which is nice. And there's a little bit of an I-cord detail at the top there, which I think is rather cute. I'm really looking forward to seeing this blocked, which I will do for next week. And I'm also thinking about doing a tutorial on how I block several different items, and because I've got a few to show you today, they'll be ready to block, and I can perhaps do a video to show you how to block all the different items that you could possibly want to block in a knitting project. So that one is finished and ready for blocking. I have a second item that actually Adam's mum Liz knitted most of this, and it is a cute little cardigan for Jensen. It is folding in at the moment. So Liz knitted the body and the arms of the cardigan as well as the pockets, and then I did the neckband round here because she hates doing neckbands. But it is like a V-neck cardigan that's just buttoned down the front, but I haven't put the buttons on yet because I thought actually it might be better if I block the cardigan first, and then I can sew the buttons on, and I'm going to do some embroidery detail on this, hence the reason why it's brown. So you'll see hopefully by next week what embroidery I'm going to do on it. So this is my chocolate colourway on some merino and nylon 4-ply yarn. And it's brown for a reason, so you'll have to wait till next week to find out why. So this is the Playdate cardigan by Tin Can Knits, and this is really good because it goes from sizes 0 to 3 months right up to an adult's 59-inch chest. So I think that's brilliant. So you can knit one for you to match a little baby. And the size that Liz knitted was the 6 to 12 month size, so that should last him a little while longer, because he's currently in mostly 6 to 9 month clothes now, even though he's just over 5 months old. So hopefully this will fit him for a while. So recently he's been wearing his vertebrae cardigan, which is actually a newborn size, and it's just about too small now, but actually a nice 4-ply weight cardigan is really useful sort of springtime and summertime, I think. So this will be extra useful. I'm really excited to do the embroidery on there, but if I don't like it I can always take it off and it can just be a nice little plain cardigan. So this actually took 78 grams of yarn. I've weighed it after it's finished, which is a little bit less than the pattern said. I think it said 400 meters, which suggests it's nearly 100 grams, but it took 78. And Liz knitted it, so it's a slightly looser gauge than what I would have knitted it as. So there's plenty of yarn with 100 grams to do the 6 to 12 months at least. So I have another knitting project to show you. So I had a mini set that I'd got from Dragon Horde Yarn, which was a Sabrina the Teenage Witch inspired set. And I thought, what better than to incorporate a yarn that was hand dyed by me, which is sort of a Halloween witch theme. So I picked my I Put a Spell on You colourway, which is a sort of mixture of purple, mustard, black and brown in there, because I thought that that would sort of be quite a muddy colour but tone all the sort of Halloween themed colours together. I think this will look a lot better when it's blocked, but you get the idea of what it'll look like, and I especially like little pops of red in there. This is the Painting Brick Shawl by Stephen West, and it used 8 minis, and basically it used all of 4 minis completely, and then there was 5 grams left roughly of the other 4, so it did use most of the yarn up, which was really good. And it called for 2 skeins, 100 gram skeins of the 4-ply yarn for the bordering colours, and I actually had about 45 grams left of the second ball. I say I have, Liz had, because she's knitted this for me, but I thought it'd be a nice way of incorporating those minis that I got in that mini set with one of my own yarns. And you're basically repeating, you can see that I've got Liz to repeat it in a sort of order, just because I like things to sort of be in an order rather than be random. I know Stephen does his a bit random, so I got her to repeat 1 to 8 because I labelled the minis, and I think they repeated 3 times, and then there was this zigzag border, which I don't think you're going to be able to really see until it's been blocked properly, because it's all curling up at the edges. But I will block it and give you a better look at it next week in the podcast after it's been blocked. I think this really goes to show that blocking can really make a hell of a difference. So hopefully I'll be able to pop a bit of the video from this week into next week's video, so it does a direct comparison of how the yarn looks once it's been blocked. I think it gives it a nice, it's a much nicer drape once it's been washed, if you're using merino anyway, or the sort of more luxurious yarns. But there we go, that is another finished project. I will show you the back as well. You can see it's not quite so nice on the back, but you can still see the stripes of colour all the way across. So now I'm on to my sewing section, and I've done a little bit of work on my hexagon box that I started ages ago. Now I keep picking this up and putting it down again and doing a bit more. So basically I will pop a picture up here of what the box looks like. It is an Emma Jones pattern from the Vintage Sewing Box, and it is a hexagon shaped box where you can pop all your items for doing English paper piecing in. And I did the little hexagons that I'd English paper pieced ages ago. I'd already done those, and I've now actually sewn them onto the side panels. So I've got, basically they look pretty much the same, but they're sewn onto the side panels for all 6 sides. And these are made, the side panels are actually made using a foam material, and then I've just covered it in some really nice linen. Now I've finished sewing the hexagons onto the side panels, I want to do some stitch detail, like a running stitch all around each of the hexagons. I did have one panel that I did do some quite intricate embroidery all the way around, and I didn't like it. So I just basically got the hexagon off and put it onto a new side panel. And I think it's just better to be a little bit simpler. It was a bit too busy with the circle of flowers around it. I might do some little sort of miniature hexagons sewn on the side with a running stitch, but I don't know yet. But at the very least I'm going to do some running stitch around all 6 of these side panels that I've got there. I've got the base all ready. I've stitched the linen, tacked the linen onto the base panel, and I've then got to join it all together and line it, and there's some really cool little pockets inside as well. And I'm wondering whether I should make a lid for it just to stop the dust getting in. So I shall let you know how I get on when I sort of complete that. We'll see if it's next week or whether I get distracted onto something else. But I wanted to show you that because it links in to two of my sections that are coming on now. So first of all is my gadget section, and I'm very excited to show you this. So relatively recently I bought a new sewing machine, and I bought the Joji TL220 QVP Mini. I think that's the right name. I will put a link to it down below in the description box down below. But it doesn't come with any place to put your sewing machine feet. Look at this. So when I got the machine, the feet and all the accessories were just in a plastic bag, and I thought, well, it's not going to be very easy to find things, and there's no sort of drawers on the actual machine itself like there is for my faff machine, where I can put the machine feet all nice and neatly and easy to access. So I was in my quilt meeting and I saw my friend Jo, and she had one of these boxes, and I said, Jo, where did you get that box from? You can fit your machine feet in it. I need one. So some of the actual compartments are deeper on one side than the other, which I shall show you in a minute. But Jo said, oh, I got it from Poundland. I said, Jo, I need one of those. And she said, Poundland for £1.50. So I said, I need one of those. So I blatantly copied Jo and went and bought one of these boxes. And then you can get into the box from both sides, from the top and the bottom. Well, neither is the top or the bottom, but you know what I mean. And then she had put some foam inside each of the compartments so that the machine feet, so it didn't sort of move around too much. So I used the same foam, the bits I had left over from making the box, and I've put little bits of foam in the bottom of each place where I've put my sewing machine feet. So if you can see here, it's slightly shallower for the sort of standard, more standard feet, and then in the side here you've got a deeper pocket, which is ideal for putting walking foot and also zipper foot in, because that's quite big and bulky to put anywhere. So I popped those in, and then I've got my free motion feet, the open toe, the 1/5 of an inch and the 1/4 inch foot, so that I've got them all there and I can see where they are. And this is also the guide for when you're using the walking foot as well. And I thought, right, I need to get my label maker out, and I've made labels where all the machine feet are supposed to go, which I just, oh, I love it. And I did label the back as well. And I've just got my like screwdriver. There's some other bits and bobs here, and I've actually just popped little rectangles of foam to stop those wiggling about in the box, so that they don't sort of get lost or damaged in any way. And there's my 1/4 inch foot there, which I use the most. To be honest, most of the time that'll be on my machine, but I'd like to have a compartment for it just in case I'm using one of the others. So that is an absolute brilliant buy, £1.50 from Poundland. So I would definitely recommend that. And I actually forgot to say, the foam is a Vilene foam, and it's basically like a foam with like a material either side sandwiched in between. So I have a scrap here so that you can see. But it's foam with fabric either side, and that's what I used for both the box that I'm making and also the leftovers to go in this. So I will leave a link to somewhere where you can get it from in the description bar down below. So absolutely brilliant organisation. So that is my gadget section, and I'm going to go to my blast from the past now. And I thought I'd link into one of the things that I've probably shown several times, but it links well with the hexagon box that I'm making. and it is the hexagon case, and this is also a pattern by Emma from Vintage Sewing Box, and I made this ages ago and I loved making it. So it is a case to carry all your bits and pieces for doing the English paper piecing with. On the front you've got, I think they're the 1/2 inch hexagons, and on the back they're the inch hexagons, and then on the inside you've got several pockets to put bits and bobs in, and a zip pocket as well. I think I did change the pattern slightly in the way I put the zip in, just because I just wanted to incorporate a bit of colour in there to match the hexagons. And then these gorgeous 1/4 inch little tiny hexagons barrettes, which I just love. So this is a really useful thing to have all your bits and pieces in, and I was thinking about making a little bag to put this in so that things don't fall out when you're carrying it out and about, because I do take this to my quilt group if I'm going to do some hand sewing. So I thought about making sort of a hexagon case to slip the whole thing in so that nothing falls out, but it'll also actually fit in this hexagon box inside it when I'm not taking it out and about. So I thought that that would link nicely in to the project I shared earlier. And the blast from the past question now also links into English paper piecing. Now I had a question from Tina, and this was via the email. So normally it's the Ask Me Anything thread in the Ravelry group, but if you don't use Ravelry, send me an email at crafthousemagik@gmail.com, and I'm happy to answer questions for the Ask Me Anything thread from the email as well. Tina was asking, have I got any recommendations for English paper piecing tutorials, and also where do I get my basic equipment from for English paper piecing. Now while I will link there's a brilliant tutorial that Emma from Vintage Sewing Box does as well on how to start off with English paper piecing. She's actually got a playlist of sort of beginner patterns and things, so I'll link that in. And also Davina from Little Workroom Crafts has got a tutorial as well, which I think is good. There's probably loads more out there, but I do suggest actually if you watch quite a few, because I find that there's several ways of doing your English paper piecing, and I think it's really up to you how you do it. Have a go at methods other people use and just pick the one that you're most happy with. Because particularly the issue of some people doing a whip stitch to join the hexagons, and other people doing ladder stitch. Some people prefer one over the other. Me personally, I prefer ladder stitch. It just comes out neater when I stitch it. I have tried both methods, so it's really up to the individual preference to how you prefer to do your English paper piecing. In terms of buying equipment, I would suggest Lena Patchwork, and I'll pop a link to that in the description bar down below. That's where I got my little hexagon template from, especially for the 1/2 inch hexagons that I like to do the most. And also I got my hexiforms, which are basically, instead of having, or these are the really tiny ones, instead of having paper for English paper piecing, which you'd think they'd always be paper, but these Ashmead hexiforms I find are really nice for when you want to have a little bit of depth in your English paper piecing. So if you look closely at these little hexagons here, you can see that they're raised slightly, and I've used the little hexiforms in there, and they're from Ashmead Designs, and I'll leave a link to those in the description bar down below. You can really tell the difference of how it comes out. These ones on the front of my case are actually just done with normal paper, then I've taken the paper out before I've stitched it on to the front here, and they're much flatter, whereas you can leave the hexiforms in and it just gives you a little bit of depth there. So that's another place to get some bits and bobs from. If I think of any other places before I write the show notes, I'll pop them in the description bar down below as well. And I do plan at some point doing my own little tutorial of how I like to do my English paper piecing, and also my favourite gadgets for doing English paper piecing with. So I'm planning to do a separate video on that at some point very soon. So the next section is my shop update, and I'm excited to introduce some new colourways and also one new opal yarn that I've got in the shop. So first of all, I've got my Take My Breath Away colourway, and this was last year's yarn club for May, because of course it's our wedding anniversary in May, and I had to have the song that we had as our first dance, so Take My Breath Away by Berlin, and this was based on my idea of a sort of tropical sunset. So there's purples, orange, yellow and red in there, and then I've done a nice bright orange mini as a contrast mini. So those will be available on all my bases, and you can select whether you want to have the mini. So I'm also releasing a mini set that I had for last May in the yarn clubs, and this one is the Mixtape Minis Volume 5, and it's based on the songs Hit Me With Your Best Shot, Lovely Day, You Make My Dreams Come True, Come and Get Your Love, and Friday I'm in Love. So those are designed to all go together, and it's all based on sort of greys, reds and blues, so that they tone nicely together. So those will be in the shop on this Friday's update. And now I'm really excited to introduce some more colours in the same base as I knitted my cardigan in. So this is in the merino, yak and silk base, and this colourway is called Gold. And I thought actually it'd be really nice if I had more colourways on this base. Because the actual base is a different colour itself, this is what the base looks like before it's dyed. And I thought I'd call it Born This Way, because obviously it's natural. That's the Born This Way colourway. That's the undyed form of the merino, silk and yak, and it's 60% merino, 20% silk and 20% yak, and it's got a beautiful shine on it, and I'm really pleased with how it's come out for this cardigan. Now I've tried to design these so that they're all the colourways I could possibly want for garments. So gold that I'm wearing, so this one's Man I Feel Like a Woman, so this is like a plummy burgundy colour, really gorgeous for a cardigan. This one is Kiss Me, and that's like a muted pink that goes really nice with the one I've just shown you. This one is called Ocean Drive. Really love this colour. I think this is going to be the first one I knit up into a garment. I'm thinking I need another sparkle cardigan by Locatelli, but do it without the lace in, so that I can wear it sort of more in the winter as well. I have Blue Moon, which is basically like a navy on the same base, which navy is always good for a cardigan. And then I thought also it would be lovely to have a black as well, and this one's called Black Velvet. It is sort of a dark grey really, because it is tonal, with some areas slightly lighter, but it's pretty much black. And also, I'm not just having it in 4-ply yarn, but I'm going to offer it in a DK as well. So these are the two yarns before they've been dyed, and the top is a DK and the bottom is the 4-ply. So all these colours will be available on both weights of yarn, 4-ply and DK, because I think that a lot of garments these days are a DK weight as well. Exactly the same base, merino, silk and yak, and they'll be available in all these colours, including the colour that I'm wearing. So I think those go together really nicely actually. The only ones I think that don't go so well is the black and the navy, but like the Ocean Drive and Black Velvet go together really nicely. I love those three together, and the black as well, and blue goes really nicely with that one. I like the teal. I could go on. The only ones that I don't like together very nicely is the black and the blue, and actually the gold colourway goes really nicely with any of those. So if you're looking for yarn for a shawl or anything like that, they're ideal as well. And of course I forgot to incorporate the natural colour as well, and that goes in really nicely too. Anyway, I'm obsessed with these, and I've got 3 skeins of this one aside to knit myself a sparkle cardigan. And I should say actually this cardigan is the Wishes cardigan by Locatelli as well, which I recently finished. But I love how this is wearing actually. It is pilling very slightly after quite a lot of wear, so I'm really pleased with the wear and the drape and everything of this cardigan. So here is what my cardigan looks like on, and you can see that the yarn has got a beautiful drape. And this is one of the cardigans that I wear the very most out of all my knitted garments really, and it goes with loads of different things I think. So with like the pinks and the blues, This is a really good colour, and I'm very tempted to knit this cardigan again. So I just have an opal yarn to show you with a shop update, and it is called Dancing Seaweed, and this one's another 4-ply yarn, and I'll pop a picture up here of what it'll look like when it's knitted up, and that'll be in the shop on Friday as well. So again, like I said, all those things that I've just shown you are going to be in the shop on Friday at 7 PM GMT, so watch out for that. If you do want to have an email reminder of when I pop new things in the shop, if you go onto my website, scroll down to the bottom and there's a box you can pop your email address in and you'll get email notifications. And also every month I'll be drawing a winner out of those people who are subscribed to my email list, and you'll be getting something from my shop. It'll either be the yarn clubs or some of the other items from my shop. So do subscribe if you're interested in getting in for the draw. So we just have a little Jensen's appearance at the end of the podcast. So over to you, Jensen. So today Jensen is wearing the little Dahlia Solo top, and I'll pop a link to the pattern in the description bar down below. And it is getting a little bit small. It's a 3 to 6 month size, and we ended up knitting it a bit shorter. Adam's mum knitted it for us. Because she knitted a bigger size and then knit the second one with the leftover yarn. So it looks really pretty. I love the leaf detail around the neck, and the back of the neck is actually, there's an opening, so it makes it easier to get on and off him. But very, very cute. Thank you very much for showing us, Jensen. And thank you, Daddy, for holding him.
It's okay.
With all the wiggling that's going on.
Yeah.
Say bye-bye, Jensen. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I shall see you in the next episode. Bye!